For those of us that bought or are thinking of buying a hardware controller for our DAWs, we do it for one reason: to stop staring at a screen and start mixing with our hands, giving us a tactile feel as we're mixing, similar to what we'd get if we were mixing on a real console. I did exactly that. I ran a Softube Console 1 Mark II on my desk for years. A few months ago, I unplugged it for good. And I'm not buying the Mark III, and I'm not buying Flow Studio. Stay with me, because this is not a hate piece. I genuinely love Softube's plugins, and we'll get to why that matters. But by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to pick the right alternative for your DAW and the simple framework that should drive the decision. Stick around to the end, because I'll put a side-by-side comparison table on screen: the best controller plus a solid alternative for every single DAW, so you can see exactly what your options are. So if you've been eyeing one of these controllers, this might save you a few $100s and a lot of frustration. Let me start with why I bought it in the first place. The promise of Console 1 is fantastic on paper: knob per function, tactile control, and the freedom to build your own super channel out of the best-in-class plugins. An SSL strip here, a Fairchild there, and your favorite Fab Filter EQ in the middle, and drive all of it from one surface without touching the mouse. And for a while, it seemed to work. But here's what actually happened to me. The Console 1 interface gets imposed on top of plugins I already knew code. Every processor, no matter who made it, gets melted into the same fixed shape, EQ, and compressor layout. That sounds convenient, and sometimes it is. But as an engineer, I want to see the DSP. I want the real plugin in front of me, every parameter, every curve, the actual signal path, because that's the information I make decisions with. And the deeper I got, the more I found myself opening the native plugin windows anyway, which defeats the entire purpose of buying the controller. And for plugins that fall outside of the Console 1 supported plugins, you end up having to reach for the mouse anyway. More on this later. Now, here's the part that pushed me from "this isn't for me" to "I want to talk about this publicly." Look at the direction of travel. Mark I, then Mark II with the fader unit, then Mark III with a new fader, then Flow Studio this past April, and now Console 1 Compact. Each step leans further into a Softube-centric, increasingly subscription-driven world. Flow especially. And the real catch isn't lock in, it's lock out. Any plugin that isn't Console 1 ready simply never gets first-class hands-on control. That forces a hybrid rig. Some plugins on the surface, everything else back on the mouse. And reaching for the mouse is the exact thing the controller was supposed to eliminate. This is where it helps to zoom out, because the whole plugin market is quietly splitting into two camps. On one side, you have hardware-modeled authenticity: UAD, Brainworks, and Plugin Alliance, Blackbox, Fab Filter. These companies sell you the faithful processor, the real interface, the real controls. On the other side, you have workflow ecosystems, and Softube is leaning harder into that camp every release. One sells you a tool, the other sells you a way of working and a reason to keep buying inside their world. And here's the uncomfortable truth about why you've mostly heard the glowing version of this story. Almost every review you've seen of Flow Studio came from a creator who got a free unit for early access content. That's marketing. It isn't analysis. I didn't get anything from anyone, which is exactly why I can tell you what these things actually trade away. So let's be fair and specific about what Flow actually delivers, because it's genuinely slick. You get 25 premium Softube effects you own forever, over 100 pre-built flows, full signal chains, and 3 modes. Flow mode for big macro moves, detail mode to dig into individual parameters, and DAW mode for level, pan, and settings. The headline feature is the macro knobs, broad controls that move many plugin parameters at once for fast, broad stroke decisions. And that's the exact trade: speed and feel in exchange for parameter level visibility. You're making musical moves without always knowing which specific bands or ratios you're hitting. For a lot of people, that's a great deal. For an engineer who wants to know precisely what's happening to the actual signal, it's the wrong default. And if you want the fullest version of that ecosystem, there's a subscription on top, Flow Complete Suite, at about $25 a month. Now, let me show you the clearest picture of the trade-off using real screenshots. No music, just engineering. Console 1 is built from 6 sections: preamp, tape, filter, shape, EQ, compressor, and drive. Each section can be filled by plugins from a whole range of manufacturers. Softube's own, plus partners like UAD, FabFilter, Plugin Alliance, Brainworks, SPO, Elysia, and more. The filter section shapes what frequencies even enter the chain. Shape handles transients, your attacks, and sustain. EQ is your tone. The compressor controls dynamics. And drive adds saturation and harmonic color. Here's the catch. Watch what happens when I build a strip with FabFilter EQ in there, Saturn in shape, Pro Q in the EQ, and let Softube's core fill the rest. Uniform, tidy, consistent face. Now here's just Pro Q from that chain in its native form. Look at everything you just got back. The spectrum analyzer, every band, the dynamic EQ behavior, the precise curve. Console 1 surfaces the handful of parameters that fit its strip and hides the rest. So you gain a uniform workflow, but you lose the instrument. And it isn't only about parameters, it's about the face. Here's Softube's own core versus a boutique unit like the Chandler Zener Bender in the same sections. Inside Console 1, they look almost identical, but the thing producers love about a Chandler or an SSL 4000E or an Empirical Labs is the original purpose-built interface, the look and feel that makes the gear feel like that gear. So that's the AB in one sentence. Console 1 gives you the same interface no matter the plugin. Less hunting, less confusion. But you trade away the original GUI and you can lose parameters that were never mapped into its own way of working. Uniform speed versus total transparency. And my whole argument comes down to this. Total control comes from total knowledge. You can't make pro-level decisions about DSP you can't see. But here's something you can see. It's that like button on your screen. If you're getting some value from this video, please let me know by clicking the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you wish to see more videos like this. Don't forget to click on the notification button so you'll always be alerted each time I post a new video. I've got many more plugins to cover in the future, so you'll definitely want to stick around to see those. Now, and this is important, none of this is me telling you not to buy Softube hardware. The hardware isn't cheap, so I want you to understand the purchase at the engineering level, not the hype level. There's a specific person Softube built this for, someone who values speed and feel over parameter level controls, who's happy to mix by macros, and let a curated workflow handle the bread and butter 60 to 70% of EQ, compression, and saturation, and who wants fewer gestures on the mouse. If that's genuinely you, buy it. It'll make you faster and happier. But if you're the kind of engineer who needs to see every plugin, every parameter, every tick, stick around. Because the real principle here is bigger than any one product. A hardware controller should serve your workflow, not impose its own. That's how you should make every gear decision. And the good news is that the alternatives are excellent. And the best choice is actually specific to your DAW. I'll put the full breakdown on screen, but here are the headlines. In Pro Tools, Avid services like the S1 give you the deepest integration and true per plugin pages. In Logic or in Studio One, now rebranded Fender Studio Pro, the Presonus fader port is the safe default. Motorized faders and tight native control. Cubase and Nundo have Steinberg's own CC121 or the Nectar Panorama CS12. And FL Studio, long the orphan for mixed surfaces, finally has real options, including the brand new Aurotech Flow. The common thread? Not one of them melts your plugins. They keep you inside the real thing. So here's one pick that works almost everywhere. Affordable, driver-free, and now native across most major DAWs. The Innovation Launch Control XL. In Ableton Live, it's detected automatically. You plug it in and Live sets it up as a control surface with no script to install, and it brings the same deep integration to Logic Pro, Cubase, FL Studio, and Bitwig, with Mackie Huey for everything else. 8 faders, 24 encoders, 16 buttons, and custom modes you can map straight to your own channel strip rack across any plugin you want from any manufacturer, always showing you the real plugin face. Now, I'll be honest about one trade-off. It doesn't have motorized faders, but here's the feature that makes that a non-issue. Selectable fader pickup. When you move a fader, it doesn't grab the value and jump the level to the instant you touch it. The fader only takes over once it passes through the current setting. So no sudden jumps, no surprises. You get tactile control without the motorized price tag. So that's the whole story. I love Softube's plugins. I'm keeping every single one of them. And honestly, some of the plugins sold under the UAD name were designed by Softube in the first place. What I won't do is adopt a control surface that masks the very plugins I bought for their detail. Keep your great plugins. Just reach for a controller that maps to their real native parameters and pick the one that fits your DAW. If this got you thinking about your signal chain at the parameter level, the next one is for you. Next time, we go hands-on with compression. Why your compressor might be killing the punch. Optical versus FET. If your drums and vocals lose their snap the second you compress them, the problem might be the type of compressor you reach for. I'll show you when FET crushes the punch, when optical saves it, and how to choose on purpose. And if a friend of yours is about to drop a paycheck on a workflow ecosystem, do them a favor and send this video over to them. Then drop a comment. What's on your controller right now? And is it showing you the real plugin or hiding it? In the meantime, if you want to go deep on more mixing or mastering topics, check out one of these videos next. Remember, none of us start as professionals, but we all become pros through practice and knowledge. I'm Ken. Catch you on the next one.